Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Ghosts. And hopefully our dog will stay quiet this time. We've tried starting this episode 3 times. So many sounds and noises today. I'm so sorry. We're doing our best. Anyway, today we actually thought we'd go through an old episode on Discovery Plus. It's a shock doc. And we were going to do one until we realized we'd already done it. But this one is Ghosts of Flight 401.
Yes.
Now, first off, same as the Origins of Scream, which we did way back in the very beginning of this podcast. I think it was our very third episode.
Yeah.
So it's Steve Shippy, who's a paranormal investigator. He's done an awful lot. And he's partnering with Cindy Kaza, who is a medium.
Yeah.
So they are talking about the December 29, 1972 crash of Eastern Airlines Flight 401. Now this flight, for whatever reasons, crashed into the Florida Everglades, scattering over quite a 1 mile radius or something, they said. 101 people were killed. There were survivors, about 75 of them. And according to some of the survivors, there were people that actually survived the crash, but they crashed in water, like about a foot of water is where the bodies were thrown. And so some of them, because they either were unconscious or whatever reason, they drowned. Which is pretty damn sad. You survive a plane crash only to drown. So it started off, first of all, these documentaries are very well done.
Yeah.
Because they are professionally done. So they started off talking to one of the survivors, a gentleman who way back in 1972 was coming back from his honeymoon. He had just gotten married, he and his brand new wife, and he survived the plane crash and she did not. Yeah. I'm wondering if she didn't survive because she got up to go to the washroom just before supposedly landing, or where they were supposed to land.
Yeah.
And it was at that time, she was probably in the bathroom when the plane went down.
Yeah.
He survived. He was strapped into his chair.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you just got married.
Yeah.
Hopefully they had a nice honeymoon. Because, give you something to remember. So, they crashed in the Everglades. Now, first of all, this is going to be a really dicey sort of place. I mean, first of all, the crash, there are alligators and snakes everywhere. I mean, you're pretty damn fortunate that some of the survivors weren't killed by alligators,
Yeah.
I mean, that's something. We never heard any of that. So That's pretty fortunate. So that also brings the danger factor up a notch or two for the investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next thing that Steve did was interview a lady named Mercedes Ruiz, and she was a flight attendant on that flight. And it was quite an interesting conversation. She told them what happened and so on.
Yeah.
She also said that of the flight crew, sorry, my lips just aren't working today. Her flight suitcase is the only one that survived. Yeah. And the interesting thing about this is inside her suitcase was a camera. And she took pictures of the flight crew just a couple hours before the flight went down. And it was interesting because 2 of the flight attendants who did not survive were clearly marked in the photo. Like she was making the funky, ears behind one of the girls' heads, and the other one was making a funny face.
Yeah, she was getting choked.
Oh, she was getting choked. That's right.
Yeah.
So those are the two people who didn't survive.
Yeah.
Like, holy God.
Yeah.
Is that not prophetic? Scary. So that was a really good interview. Then they started talking about 2 years after the flight, people from the staff started saying they were seeing apparitions on their flights. And visions of the captain, visions of the engineer is the biggest one. And after a while, they were told not to talk about it. Don't tell anybody, don't say anything, don't report it, just business as usual.
Yeah.
They ended up talking next to a lady named Elizabeth Fuller. Now, Elizabeth was a flight attendant. I think she was she an Eastern flight attendant?
No.
She was the other company?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, she was a flight attendant, and she became a researcher, a Flight 401 researcher for an author who was writing a book about what happened on the flight. And she was a former stewardess, so she knows all this stuff. So she was quite interesting. And one of the things that she uncovered was that they were reusing parts from the downed plane, because apparently this plane was very state-of-the-art, a lot of high-end parts, brand new parts, and a lot of them survived the crash because of how it crashed. They put those parts that were able to be repurposed into other planes.
Yeah.
And those are the planes that started seeing the apparitions.
Yeah.
So interesting. Once, I guess, management got enough complaints about these visions of people that I don't know how they made the link that it might have been the parts, but they removed those parts, replaced them with regular other stuff, and then all the apparition, the visions stopped.
Yeah.
So right then and there, you know that those ghosts were attached to the plane.
Yeah. Stone tape theory.
Yeah. So again, now Steve and Cindy, they did their initial go out to the site and look around and get their basic, impressions and stuff. And all I can think of is there's alligators in that water because they're showing them.
Yeah.
So I do wonder how, if their crew that you don't see on camera, if they were armed, just in case.
Yeah. Well,
would you think?
You would have to think.
They lost me with the 20-foot pythons. There's 20-foot pythons out here. Great.
You pass out with a
garden snake. Yeah. Can you imagine? No. For anybody who doesn't know, I have this huge snake phobia. It's pretty bad. I don't even like those great big night crawler worms because they're too much like snakes. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. No, it's not good. We have, we laugh every spring. We call it snake season here because that's when the snakes come out of hibernation and they move around a lot. And I don't like it. Bruce could tell you stories, yeah. Mm-hmm. I almost throw up sometimes. I almost pass out. Oh, it's bad. Anyway, the thought of a 20-foot python sends my... I just hyperventilate thinking about it. Oh, my God. Yes. Anyway, yeah. Big guns. I want big guns.
Yeah. Lots of guns.
Lots of guns. Yeah. Anyway. I don't even know if you I guess you can shoot snakes.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I would try. I want a semi-automatic for that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, so getting away from the snakes and the alligators, being that those are dangerous out there, they do their first initial impression. And she does some psychometry, where she gets down and touches the ground and gets her impressions.
She's amazing at what
she is really good. Yeah. Yeah. So they do that initial part, and then they go back to Miami where they're doing some more research kind of stuff. And that's when they were talking to Elizabeth and stuff. So then the next night they go back out at night, in the dark, in the Everglades, where there's alligators and snakes, and you can't see them coming because it's dark.
Mm-hmm. But you can hear them.
But that's worse. Oh, that's worse. This would be one of those where I'd say, honey, you go out there and investigate, and I'm going to stay back here and watch you with a camera. I'm not going out there. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. So they spend a lot of time questioning and trying to get, obviously, in contact with the crew and stuff. But they're a lot of times questioning if the spirits of the crew are attached to parts of the plane.
Yeah.
And I really think that's been already established, but they keep at it because, they gotta fill time.
Yeah.
But I really think they spent a lot of time, and they spent a lot of time with Don Repo, who was the engineer on the flight.
Yeah.
After that, they talked to an aviation expert. His name's Benny B something or other. And they discovered that there was a 1996 flight, a value jet flight, that crashed right into the swamp, less than a mile from Flight 401's crash site.
Right.
That's interesting. So my thought was, while they are out there trying to communicate with the spirits from 401, who's to say they're not in contact with the spirits of Flight 592?
Right.
Sorry, I just want to talk to 401. Nope. No, I don't want to talk to you. Go away now. I'm busy. So I thought that was interesting that they never acknowledged that they could have been interacting with both.
Right.
Because it's true, they could have easily. Yeah. Apparently that flight crashed deep into the swamp.
Yeah.
And so those people were pretty toasted. They were able to recover a lot of parts intact from that flight. Yeah. I don't know if they got the flight recorders. I'm assuming they did.
Yeah.
They didn't go into too much detail. Benny also told them about a local landmark called the Coral Castle. Now, the Coral Castle was built in the 1920s, and there's a lot of people that say that it has some strange energy, something coming off of it, which then led them down this other rabbit hole. Benny also mentioned the lost flight of, I forget.
6.
There were 6 bomber jets that went missing when it left and went out, to the Bermuda. They call it the Bermuda Triangle. And I think everybody has heard of those 6 bomber jets that went missing. And even the flight plane, the rescue plane that went looking for them, vanished as well. That's a whole different story, but it's pretty awful. But they're thinking that they're all related. Yeah. That maybe some energy interfered with the instruments, which is possible. I mean, all they have is the voice recorder, but it sounds like, with the dramatization aside, it sounds like something happened that caused them to lose altitude, and then they got confused. Now, at one point they said that it sounds like the pilot might have turned off the autopilot by mistake, and he was so focused on trying to find out if his landing gear was down, because that didn't register, that he missed the fact that he turned off the autopilot. And by the time he realized that they were only at 900 feet, not 2,000 feet, it was too late to try to recover. Because, on the voice recorder, it says, what's going on? Obviously you're at 900 feet. Yeah. What's going on is
you would think the tower would have called him sooner.
Yeah, you're getting a little low there. Maybe you should climb to 2,000 feet. Yeah, getting to 1,000 feet, you'd think. Well, actually, at 1,500 feet, you'd think they'd be starting to say something, because they already told them to climb. So they did quite a bit of time talking about the Bermuda Triangle effect.
And why did the one guy the survivor, who just got married,
Mm-hmm.
he was strapped in the seat naked.
Yeah, that one was kind of weird. And the baby was naked too.
And the baby was naked too.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a baby. A mom was holding her 11-month-old baby in her arms. And I guess the baby was thrown out of her arms. She couldn't hold on. And they found the baby. Mom and dad were both killed. The baby survived. Baby was butt naked as well.
Yeah.
Like, that makes no sense. I mean, I guess the velocity...
Well,
but how does that rip your clothes? I don't understand that.
I don't understand.
If anybody knows how that works, if you could drop us a message and let us know, even in the comments below, that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that works short of velocity and maybe catching on something as you're...
Yeah, but he was still...
Yeah, he was still in his... Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, woke up in the water.
And he was naked.
Naked.
Yeah, butt naked, he
still strapped into his...
In a seated
seat.
position, they said. Yeah. Actually, they didn't say he was in his seat. That was
yes,
a dramatization.
They
said he was in a seated position.
Yeah. Wow.
So, was he still strapped? It didn't really say. But the dramatization showed that he was. So, I'm assuming that he was still strapped into his seat.
Yeah.
But he clearly said he was butt naked.
Yeah.
That was his words. I was butt naked.
And still in my seat.
Yeah.
Strapped into my seat. That's what...
So, I mean, the whole thing was sad. At the very end, they did something called a soul rescue. And I don't know if that really did anything. I think they were trying to let those cross over that needed to cross if they could. But supposedly there's some sort of an energy vortex holding people in. And I don't quite get all that. Whatever. They had a little ceremony at the end, the very, very end, where they put a plaque. They made a plaque for the
survivors, or the people who died.
Yeah, they made a plaque. Be quiet, Pickles. They made a plaque for basically it's for the families of the survivors, so they have something to mark the passing. And my comment at the time was I was really surprised that there wasn't a memorial already.
Yeah.
Because to me, somebody would have done it since 1972, 50 years, more now actually. But, you'd think someone would have created a plaque. Now, the one that they made, I mean, it's just the plaque. I don't think they have it mounted there.
Yeah.
But it was where they presented it was kind of like at the mouth of the Everglades going up towards where the crash site was. And to me, that would be a good place for it. Yeah. Because the last thing you really want is people going up into that area where it could be dangerous.
It's a restricted area.
Yeah,
too, so.
It is a restricted area. It gives them a focal point, a place to come to pay their respects. And I think that's nice. Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. And there were things, like I've watched it before. This was the second time that I've seen it. And I think I saw things the second time around that I missed the first time around. Because, there's so much. There's so much going on. Yeah. That you miss it.
Information overload.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of stuff going on. And this poor engineer, Don Repo is his name. He's obviously traumatized, feeling it's all his fault. And I don't see how it could be. He was sent down with a flashlight to physically see if the landing gear had dropped like it's supposed to. Yeah. And that was the last they heard of him because he never responded back. So something must have happened to him. And he's blaming it on himself because, he's the engineer. It was really very sad. The captain died at the scene. Yeah. The co-pilot died a couple days in hospital, as did the engineer, he said, which is pretty sad. Yeah. The engineer lasted a little bit longer, it's really very sad, very sad. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. I don't always like all the gadgets because sometimes they make me crazy. Yeah. And with that geoport, I don't hear it as well. It's that reverberating sound. I just don't hear it as well unless it's super clear. And they actually got some very super clear results this time.
Yeah.
It was good. I enjoyed the trigger objects that they found and they used, and yeah. That's our comment for today. It was very good. If you have not seen Ghosts of Flight 401 yet, it is a shock doc on Discovery, and sometimes they play it on Travel and stuff like that. But do watch it. It's really quite good. Yeah. It's very well put together, and it does give you some interesting points to ponder. Like, were those flights that went down? There's 3 of them. Now, supposedly the ghosts say they're all connected, but how do the ghosts really know? I don't know how they would know flights in the 30s going down or 40s going down. I think it's the 40s. Yeah. I don't know how they would know why that one went down. They might know about the 1996 one because, they were already dead at that time. But they're not even on that flight, so I don't know. Do they talk to the other ghosts? Maybe?
No.
Hard to say.
Communications.
Well, yeah, you just never know. So yeah, it does give you some points to wonder. And they do say that one of the points of the Bermuda Triangle starts in Hawaii, in Miami.
Yeah, Florida.
Yeah, so that's the first point.
Yeah.
Miami, and then Bermuda, and then Puerto Rico. So interesting. I never really knew that it started right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a very good documentary. If you get a chance to watch it, by all means, you should. It is good. It'll make you think. It'll make you wonder what really happened out there. How did it happen out there? Yeah. Hopefully you have a good day, evening, night, wherever you are in this great wide world.
Happy hunting.
Happy hunting. Bye now.